Hi everyone, it's Linda here from Banjo's Bead House with one of our fun projects for kids that adults might also enjoy. So we're putting together a couple of kits to help everyone stay entertained at the moment. One of them is painting wooden beads. So these are natural hinoki wood. We're putting together a kit which will be up soon, but by the time you see this it will be live. There's all sorts of different sizes in the hinoki beads. They're really fun. They're also really lightweight, so they're great for kids to make projects with, and they're also fun for adults. Now for adults you can bead around these, you can paint them as well. They're really versatile and fun things to have in your stash, and you can also have fun colouring them just as we're doing for the kids. Now I went to my local Officeworks to grab some kids friendly paints, so I was working with things that parents might have at home. So I'm just working with the pearl paints that I picked up from Officeworks. These are about $5-6 for a really big bottle. Things I've had in my stash, some Kaiser colours. I'm also working with some, sorry, I've just got a wet paintbrush about to roll on me. Some Sharpie markers, so these are also really good. You can also grab any of your kids' markers for this project. If you are like me and have all sorts of different things at your disposal, you can also use alcohol inks, so probably not so friendly with the kids considering how the smell of alcohol that just came off this container. If you've been doing any painting on leather and metal, you might also have some of the vintage patina paints, which is these guys. So I'm going to show you guys painting beads with different ones, but I'm going to focus more at the kids end, because of where we're trying to focus is to give parents something the kids can do, particularly with Mother's Day coming up in May. Shop's probably not open by then, school may or may not be open, pasta is in, short supply, at least in my supermarket, so you're not going to be wanting to make pasta necklaces for people, so this might be a fun craft activity and a way of making mum something special, or making something for Nan that you can put in the post, or just to say thank you to a lovely neighbour who's been helping you out as well. So let's get to it. So I'm just going to tip you guys down, sorry for the hand. You can see here I've just got a couple of the colours for the paints that I've got. This one's really cool, it's actually glitter paint, because I love some sparkle. So it's this one, this glitter paint. What I love about this is they say it's all, you can soak a garment in warm water and detergent and get these paints out, so it should hopefully be kid friendly. I've got on the ends of my paintbrushes, because I have a huge stack of paintbrushes, all the beads that I'm going to be working with, just to make my life a little bit easier. Some that I've already been working on I just have sitting in a jar, and I've got some warm water and detergent off to the side, and some paper towel just to clean my brushes as I go. But the palette was really handy. If you don't have one of these, a plastic plate at home works equally well. So to get you started, you can see here I've just drawn some lines around this one using the gold Sharpie to get this kind of effect. So I did some black dots and then painted over with the silver paint, because this one's a little bit translucent. So it's about having fun, picking up some different color options. And because my grandmother is such a Parramatta Eels fan, to the point that her nickname is actually Paranan, we are going to do the gold texture, which I've already got in place. So I'm going to show you guys with just a couple more lines. So I might just do a center line. So it's just as easy as coloring on. And as I said, if you don't have Sharpies, that's fine. Any of the texture markers work on these really, really well, and the great thing is they're really quick to dry. So I've just got a fun little quadrant grid painted on there now, and I'm just going to grab a paintbrush, dip into this pearly blue. And as you can see, it's really easy, it's just brush on. The paintbrush, or if you've got skewers at home, just give you the option of being able to hold it so you can keep paint off fingers as much as possible. Also makes it easier to put it into a jar or a mug for drying. You can, once these guys are dry, do more Sharpie marking or color markers over the top. You can decoupage onto these beads if that's your jam. So for kids you could stick stickers on. It's kind of, possibilities are endless. It's where your creativity wants to take you. In the next video series, you're going to see me actually use all the beads that I've painted and turn them into a necklace. So in the kit that we're putting together, you'll have the ability to make a couple of these beads and some necklaces from them. So it's as simple as that. So you can see I've got a blue and gold lined design. So as I said, this paint is really translucent. You may have more opaque paint. That's entirely depends on the paint that you're actually working with. I'm going to do, because I haven't played with the gold yet, going to pick up another brush. This one does go on a little bit thicker, which is great. The metallics in this range aren't as translucent. So you can see I've got a nice bright gold bead now. It's really quick. These guys are probably going to take a little longer to dry, so I suggest if you're going to be making jewelry with them, give them overnight to dry, so it's a nice 2-day project for the kids. The Kaiser paints took probably about half an hour to thoroughly dry. The vintage and alcohol ink you can pretty much use straight away, but it's just about working with the different paints. But this is a fun way. You could buy a whole bunch of these, paint up, and then over the next couple of days turn them into pieces. So it's a good couple of day activity to keep the kids entertained. But there we go, we got a funky gold bead now. So that gives me one more choice. Now I said I was going to show you guys the alcohol ink and the vintage paint, so I'm just going to grab some of the vintage, and I'm going to, haven't used these for a while, I should have shaken one up in advance. With these guys you need to shake until you hear the little thingies rattle. So if you haven't seen vintage patina paints, that's their bottle for those of you. So any scrapbookers out there, if you've got any of the Ranger inks, any of these you'll be able to work with. And of course this one's jammed up. Should have prepared that better before I went online. Okay, more colour than I needed, but that's okay. So I'm going to cheat. Instead of brushing this one on, I am going to start by rolling. So this is the other option. If you've got young ones and you want to keep their fingers completely away from it, you can just get them rolling their beads in paint as well. So you can see that the patina paint has a really nice thick opaque, and it's got a really beautiful shiny luster. I am just going to grab a brush just to finish off around that. Now once this is dry, I could come back with a Sharpie marker and add some embellishment on top of it, or any of the other paints. So I might actually try the glitter paint on top of this as well, just for a little bit of fun. But I'm just going to put that off to the side and let it dry. Drop its brush in the container. So that was doing it with a patina paint, and we're just going to grab some alcohol ink, and with this we might do the teal green if I can get the lid off. So this is the Jacquard teal. So if anybody does any of the resin works with lovely colors in them, they're generally using these colors as alcohol inks. With this one, I'm just going to drop a couple of drops of the extender in, just to thin the color out just a little bit, so it's got some cool rippling going on. And we're going to grab another brush. Now you don't have to worry about which brushes you're using for this. I just grabbed a whole pile that we have for when we're doing this sort of stuff with kids in class. And you can see this is absorbing straight in. And the more I layer on, the less translucence it's getting. But it's cool because it's with the extender in it, you are being able to still pick up the wood grain in the beads. And you're just getting that lovely center line that's not as dark as the edges. And again, I could also choose to roll this in this, which will get the center of the bead a nice little dose of color. So whilst this one goes on nice and shiny, it does give a more matte finish as it's finished, but does have a lovely luster in it. So that's the alcohol ink way of doing this. But just to show you, if we were going to do one completely out of a marker. So grabbing the kids markers we were using for an art project the other day. This time going for red. And it's just a matter of simply colouring. So there's lots of ways you can work with the kids with materials you've got at home and just some simple wooden beads, and create all sorts of fun to create some beaded jewellery. So I'm just going to finish this bead off and then leave you guys to explore the wonderful world of working with wooden beads that you can paint and colour yourself. So that's it for me for this time. I will see you on the next video when we show you how to actually work with all of these beads to create a gorgeous necklace. Until then, stay safe, stay sane, and keep crafting. Bye for now.